I gave AI one voice memo. It built a website, reviewed its own work, failed itself, fixed itself, and never needed me again. This is called loop engineering. If you're still prompting, waiting, prompting again, that's not automation, that's just prompt babysitting. So everyone who says stop prompting, just write loops. Wrong. Prompting's still the foundation. What they're not teaching you is the difference between how to write a loop and when to write one, and when to still use prompts. And getting that wrong burns tokens for absolutely nothing. I've run this exact system across Claude Code, Codex, and OpenCode, and I get the same results every single time. So today, the 6 things every loop needs, then I build one live from scratch so you can copy it today. Let's go. So how to build a loop that self-improves is 1, you have the Claude and Agents MD, so the context and overall behavior rules. Number 2 is the goal, so what done looks like, what do you want to have built. Number 3 is the rubric, so what rules are in place, what does done look like, what does good look like, what does bad look like. Number 4 is the agents, so which agents do you need? What are their roles? What are their permissions? And then what's the learning log? So that way self-improvement, user feedback, AKA your feedback. And then what's the decision context that happened here? What decisions were made, right? Like this gives a shared memory across every agent that you ever use. So when you do that, you've built a loop that self-improves just over time and gets better and gets better, and it starts one-shotting things, which is awesome. So just to recap again, this is a great use case for things that you are constantly working off of. Just like this video right here operates off of the loops for the script, for how this video is actually cut and the graphics. But if you have a client and a website and you're constantly building on a website, vibe coding an app, you're managing your entire content systems, your entire business systems, you can have a loop that's constantly reviewing that, and you're taking yourself out of having to do everything. And this gives you leverage to automate just about anything that improves over time with your standards. So let's actually go ahead and build a loop right now. And I'll do a pretty simple one with an example of a website landing page. All right, I've got VS Code open, but honestly, I like the terminal experience better. I'm just gonna use VS Code so I can show you here on the left-hand side what exists there, which you can see I've built this kind of new folder, and I have an agents and Claude MD folder that those are gonna stay in sync. I've got the memory, that's where the log is gonna go. And by the way, if you use Obsidian, which I highly recommend this, and I have this as a plugin actually in that school community that you can jump right into and actually just grab the plugin and how I run the setups here. So every loop is built the same, but the memory, you can write it to Obsidian, and just make sure if you have a hook or something that you want to build, just have the agents write it to Obsidian rather than just in this folder if this is like a big context thing. But we have the memory folder here and then the rubric of what good looks like. So I like the terminal experience, but just know you can use this in the VS Code chat here, or you can do it inside the Claude Code desktop app. Same thing everywhere, but otherwise this is just fine. So I use a tool called Whisper, and so I'm actually just gonna speak and describe this project. And I'll just give you a light level example here on a small example of a landing page. Okay, we are going to be building, the goal here is to build a website landing page that contains a hero image or a hero section and a body. The website is going to be a build for a fictitious med spa clinic, high-end boutique style. I also would like to make sure, this is gonna sound weird, but use a liquid glass themed elements, but tie it in tastefully within the aesthetic. So make sure we choose something that has a little bit more premium feel than like a naturalist, holistic feel. The things that would enable this to be complete are number 1, a landing page. Number 2, that the landing page must contain the sections that I just described. There needs to be a minimum of 3 buttons, a book, like call to action, book an appointment button. There needs to be a contact us button, and then a learn more button. In order for this to be complete, The hero image must also have a continuously running animation that is also mobile compatible, not just desktop. The body must also have a minimum of 5 animations on scroll, and with something that draws the eye to it, like a little wiggle or something like that. Then the last piece is the website must be done and built in a way that does not contain AI slop. In order to accomplish this build, you are going to act as the orchestrator. This agent is going to actually be writing and building the website. It's going to make sure this agent is using the Sonnet model for its task. This agent should also be starting with the skill of UI UX Pro Max is what I would like for that agent to have, at least for the kind of general layout of the website. The agent has free reign to decide on the look or colors and name of the brand. For the reviewer agent, I would also like for you to have these spawned as a Sonnet model. However, spawn a fresh reviewer agent for every turn. That way, the same agent is not used for reviews. This reviewer agent will use the impeccable skill to validate that AI slop is not used in the website. For things that the reviewer agents flag, you as the orchestrator should update the rubric. So make sure the rubric MD, which is located in this folder, contains the do's and don'ts, as well as just the baseline of impeccable skills for how the worker agent should actually be also building off of, including the UI UX Pro Max. Any feedback that the reviewer catches that's repetitive or incorrect builds, you as the orchestrator should update the rubric MD. The sessions, when the review and the worker have completed for each turn, add that to the memory MD file. The memory MD serves as the continuous log, so do not only log memories to the native Claude Code memories, you also need to make sure those memories are logged to the memory MD that any agent can read. In addition to this, build out the agents and Claude MD folders, or I'm sorry, not the folders, the agents and Claude MD files here, and they must be in sync. So anytime that you update the agents.md, the Claude MD file needs to be updated. If you update the Claude MD file, the agents MD file needs to be updated. They must always be in sync so any agent at any time can work out of these folders. The limit for the reviews, we should limit this to only 2 review loops. If it fails to accomplish the build, then at that point, stop the review cycle and share with me for feedback. I will give you feedback. Whatever feedback I give you, make sure you include any of those to the rubric or memory, whichever is appropriate. And then we will continue the build. So every time I give you feedback, update those, continue the loop until we achieve this goal, and then make sure that this foundation is for any future things and additions that we make to the website. All right. So kind of the baseline there, but that's good. We're going to go ahead and drop that in for the agent. Now, I know that was a lot to dictate, but you can see it's not the worst, but it's a pretty good formula prompt here. Now, I'll go ahead and let that run, and we'll fast forward here to let it finish. So I've put it on fast mode here it may burn a little bit more tokens. So when I show you really what it did to my kind of weekly token usage, that may be a little bit higher, but you can see it's already started it. It's started and it's seeded, dispatched the round 1 builder. So if you can see down here below, now that the orchestrator has started, it's spawned the round 1 builder and it's keeping count. So I can see visually kind of where it sits, and then it's going to go ahead and keep rolling. So now it's just continuing. It's given that directly to the builder. The builder is going to go ahead and run, and it'll report back. And so all we're doing, we're just going to wait and let it kind of continue to roll while it does its thing. All right, so I'm just showing you here inside of the agent view, which right now I'm toggling just using the up and down arrow. down to the agent and then up to the main, but now it's messaging the team lead, which is the orchestrator here, that has this. So this is kind of the handoff work that you're seeing. And anyway, I just wanted you to kind of see this as it rolls. The other thing here is that's really cool is what the team lead told it. You can kind of start seeing how it's interacting with the other agent. So now you're seeing that the team lead is actually the orchestrator is creating now a reviewer agent, which is really cool. And you can kind of see it start working. So I'm going to pause and kind of let it cook and do its thing. All right, just give me a quick snapshot here of what the agent is seeing as it reviews. It's literally scrolling through and doing the things that normally we would inspect. So one of the most important things is that, whenever you call an agent out and it comes back and tells you, it's like, you're right for calling me out, or, oh, good catch. I said I did this thing, but it didn't really do it, or whatever. Because sometimes I don't know I don't even understand how they get confused with exactly what they built. But this is where the agent, instead of you having to scroll and look and test and look at everything, the reviewer is doing this. And so you can kind of see, I'm actually right now, if you look at the bottom of my screen, I'm in the reviewer agent right now, and you can kind of see exactly how it interacts. So I just wanted you to get a really cool snapshot of how it behaves, especially in this review cycle, to make sure that it meets the criteria. So I'll let it run some more. That way you're not just staring at it, but I thought this would be really cool to highlight. Okay, so the reviewer agent is done, and here's the verdict: it failed. And just caught everything. These are just things you don't have to spend your time on. And these are even visual taste things. So it's going to keep going, but it has a whole list of feedback that it shared. And then it's great. So that reviewer round 1 is done. And so I just wanted to show you, and now it's going to hit its round 2. So back to the orchestrator. And I thought this would be helpful just in context, and why I like to have an orchestrator is right now it detected the reviewer kind of went idle, and so it nudged it. It was like, hey, I didn't get everything back, and it follows on. So it just takes some of the chasing out and some of the guesswork that just feels, it just sucks to do, honestly, right? So this is where having an orchestrator just makes it a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, more accessible, less over engineering. So it spawned to the next one. So this is where we sit. So again, when you have an orchestrator, it's just going to give you the play-by-play where it sits. If you can see, it actually updated the memory, updated the rubric. So it's kind of doing its thing. All right, let's go ahead and let it finish, and then we'll close this out. All right, so it finished. And here's kind of the run back of what happened, the playback, and it ran me through it. And we can see like it's made the updates to the rubric. So that's good. It's made updates to the memory. So this is here. It doesn't require rereading the whole code base. This is kind of the turn log and their date stamped. So it's a great way to understand the memory. But at the core, awesome. Now I'm ready to actually go ahead and just review this. So I'm going to pull this thing open, and let's actually go ahead and see what it's built. So it's built a pretty good start. So I'll just show you here really quick. This is a fictitious brand. This is a great kind of initial first pass. It still has that continuous automation like I asked for. In real life, do I want exactly this type of website? I would suggest bringing in things that you like already. Here are great examples of what I like. The general feel, more of your taste up front, but I didn't want to just completely blow that out of the water here. But now it's ready for us to just bring in our taste. And this is an important piece. If I'm going to go back and add things to it, I'm going to start saying, hey, personally, I don't love just this mono font. It's technically not AI slop, but I don't love that. I don't love that there's an M dash in here. So as I come back and give feedback, I'll just share. Great. I'm scrolling through it. Take out the M dash. I don't like any mono fonts. Make sure all of our fonts are a premium aesthetic. Kind of an aesthetic font that matches the vibe more. The mono kind of stands out to me personally as just very so these are things that it would take. And I'm just going to give you these as an example. And before I hit send on this, there are a couple of other things that you can do. One, you can have a nightly routine that just like goes and keeps the memory really clean. You can add a Claude MD rule or agents MD rule that ensures that everything is precise and there's context. You can bring in assets, you can continuously feed it. So just know you can do whatever you want, but this is the foundation. But you can do things to make things simpler and less lines and inside of your files and clean things up and keep them relevant, archive, and whatever you want to do. Graphify the knowledge, right? There's so much you can do once you've built it, but this is the core. So now I'm going to go ahead and give it the feedback here. I'm going to share back. Here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't. And there we go. Whoops. All right. I'm back in the right place. And we will just go ahead and fire this off. So it's taking that and it's going to go ahead and pin that down. It's going to go ahead and drop that. It'll improve the rubric. And now the loop continues. So this is how you build a loop, and this is how you start scaling yourself and bring in more of your taste. And this is where I wanted you to see at the beginning, it's a little bit more effort, a little bit more feedback, and honestly, you can do more, but then it's going to learn, it's going to adapt. And as I build more pages, add different things onto it, it's going to capture the essence of what good looks like, how to strip things out. The reviews are going to get better, and it's going to, like you see, bring that feedback into my rubric. So now it's incorporating my taste as this rolls forward. So use this, use loops, scale yourself. If you're, instead of just sitting here waiting for it to finish, add it into Slack, have it tag you or ping you or have it send you a text, whatever you want to do to have Claude work with you. But now this enables you to write loops instead of just prompting and steering Claude the whole way. So you scale yourself, and Claude gets better and starts one-shotting things over time and matches your taste automatically. Welcome to a whole new world of automation. All right, let's talk loop engineering and how to write loops. So everybody is saying you have to write a loop for everything. Don't prompt anymore. False. You still want to be able to be great at prompting, but writing loops is an excellent skill that you need in order to automate entire systems that you build that can run without you and develop your taste and take your feedback to become a self-improving system that just does what you need it to do. Let's unpack this really quick. And I just want to make sure while I teach you about loops and how to write loops over the next 15 minutes, I'm also going to show you how to do one live inside of Claude Code, but just know this works across anything. Claude Code, Codex, Open Code, GLM, Gemini, Kimi, does not matter. I've written loops across each system, and it works exactly the same way. I'm going to zoom out really quick and just make sure I clarify one thing here. There are 4 different things that you need that are arrows in your quiver, and they're not the only things, but these kind of all tie into loops. So prompting, we all know how to prompt. We steer Claude, it does something, then we steer it again, we prompt it, it does something again, we prompt Codex, whatever, it does it. But we have to keep doing that. And then the loop command, which I would just want to make sure I set the ground rule here. Writing a loop is not the same as the /loop command. /loop command is designed to do a circular process, not a loop, but just an automated process over and over again. So a repetitive task. That is not writing a loop. That's not loop engineering. Then there's the /goal command, which I actually want to give you some tidbits and recyclable pieces. And this is actually from the AI builders community. And if you join our school community, you can actually learn how to do everything here I'm about to teach you, as well as other things to use it for all of your content systems, how to vibe code, how to automate just your day-to-day work if you're an operator. So anyway, but I'm going to show you this from the school community. And the goal command is very similar to loop engineering. It's really what Codex and Anthropic put out there to help simplify loop engineering. But I thought it'd be helpful to give you this and kind of give you this prompt and kind of the anatomy of a goal. And then we'll go to the anatomy of a loop, and then I'll take you through how to actually build one. So I just want to make sure you have these foundations. Otherwise, without these, you're going to get wildly confused if you're going to go and try and build a loop. So there are 6 anchors of a strong goal prompt. And the same thing kind of goes for loops. So you're going to have the folder that you're working out of. You have decision criteria. So what are we working on? Or am I going through things over the last 30 days, last week? Is this an active workflow? What are we touching? And then the second thing is, or third thing, I'm sorry, is what stuff needs to change in the state? What's our memory? What's our active working thing? What needs to go to archive? How do we handle different files? The proof artifact. So what's the report or like the proof of work that shows what the worker agent did? And the two most important things, and these are the things, if you get nothing else out of this, it's these two. You need a stop condition, which is your goal, or you need a turn count safety net, which is like limiter. Like, hey, stop if you don't go into a doom loop. Stop if you go through 2 or 3 review passes and you're failing. Bring me back in. Let me steer you here, so that way you don't go off burning tokens, because I don't know about you, I don't have just unlimited budget to just blow tokens and let Claude or Codex just run for 74 years without me getting in the loop. So a measurable stop condition, this is a goal. This is what done looks like. So if you know what done looks like, that's the finish line. Great, that's your stop condition. Number 6, which is the other thing that you need to make sure you have, is a turn count safety net. So this basically is stop after 30 turns and write a partial report or bring me in. What do you want it to do if it feels like it's getting stuck? So I've got a template right here that you can grab that literally, if you're writing a goal or a loop, this is a great starting point. So let's go ahead and get into how they kind of look. So I just showed you here /goal, the goal command, which you have the formula prompt, and you can take that template that I just gave you. That's your goal. That's what done looks like here. And that's your stop condition, what's in scope, what's out of scope. You're describing how to build this and then when to bring you in or when to stop. What happens in the goal command is you have a worker agent that then does work. And a quick note, inside of Codex, right here, there is no review agent. It just works on its, oh, my pen here went kind of crazy. It just keeps going. It self-reviews, did I meet this goal, yes or no? If it doesn't, it keeps going. Inside of Claude, in Claude Code, there's a worker agent. Then when it says the work is done, there's a reviewer agent, which is in the haiku model, so a smaller one. And it's reading the transcript to see what the worker says it did, by the way. This is important. This is why I love loops, maybe more than I love goals for the control. But then it'll say, did it meet the goal, or did it hit the stop condition or the turn count? I'm sorry, the turn count, so that way it doesn't burn. If it meets either of those, then it hands it back to you. And then you have to reprompt and have it go again towards that goal. Goals are kind of like a better way to kind of get closer to one-shotting something. But however, when you get into a loop, I want to show you the anatomy of a basic loop, and just know you don't have to write anything crazy. A loop can get really wild over time. That means you've perfected a system. You know the processes. You know who you want involved and who you don't. So loop engineering, you can do this without an orchestrator. By the way, I typically try not to. I feel like I end up over-engineering the whole thing. I have an orchestrator that can nudge and do all that fun stuff, which is just the main session. It's just the main session, and I'll show you how to do that here inside of Claude Code. But when you have a loop, there are 6 core tenants. You're going to have your 5 core tenants. Number 1 is your Claude or agents MD file. And I have both inside of the project. And that's important because I want to make sure I'm not trapped with Claude Code only. I want to be able to throw in Codex. Sometimes I use a Codex agent called by Claude Code. And sometimes I have a Claude Code agent spawn an open code agent. And that I want to make sure there's full context at all times throughout the project. Or sometimes I just want to work from it in Claude Code one time or Codex another. But you have a Claude MD and an agents MD that has your entire, the context, how to behave, the do's and don'ts. Then we have the goal, which is here's what we're building towards, so the artifact. Here's the actual thing we're trying to build. Number 3 is the rubric. A rubric is your rules of like, here's what good looks like and here's what bad looks like. Here's what I hate. This is your taste, right? And the things you basically here's how you're defining what a good goal, what achieving that looks like, rather than a sloppy goal. Then number 4, the agents. What agents do you need? In the simplest form, you're going to have a worker agent and a reviewer agent. But sometimes if you're writing vibe coding, for example, you may have a worker agent or a builder or a code writer agent. And then you may have a code reviewer agent, right, to look at the quality of the code and all of that fun stuff. And you might have a security audit agent to check the security of all the code. And then you might have a documentation agent or something, so that you can have various pieces in that workflow as you build, or if you already know exactly how you want to build it. So this even goes down to permissions. And the last thing, and this is the most important, is the memory or the log, where all of the reviewer feedback goes, where all of your feedback and taste goes. Basically, how do we make sure the worker agent improves over time? And so the way that it looks, you have a worker agent who then will will hit work complete, and the worker agent is working off of your rubric and goal, right? It's just working off of those. Here's what I'm building towards. Awesome. It'll say, I finished this. It goes to a reviewer agent. But here's what I love about loops. The reviewer agent, and this is LLM agnostic again. It's not just Claude Code or Codex. It looks at the actual work against the rubric. It'll take screenshots. It opens it up. It reads the documentation rather than just reading what the worker said it did. It's actually looking at the proof of work. And then, just like a loop, it's saying, did it meet the goal condition? And then it hands it back to you. Or did it get stuck, right? It stop after 2 turns. And then it's coming back to you for feedback. So this is the inner loop, the self-running piece. And then the outer loop is you. So you're giving your taste and you're reviewing, like, it got stuck. Okay, bring me in. Or, hey, we're done, or I had a question, bring me in, or hey, we're done, take a look. If you look at it and share feedback, that's going to go back to the orchestrator who updates the rubric with your feedback, and it's going to keep going. So now it's improving. And over time, what you're going to notice with your actual feedback loops is you're going to go from having to steer constantly to, like, you're maybe way up here where let's say this is the baseline. You're giving feedback early, but it's learning from your feedback and self-verifying and updating the rubric and updating the taste. And eventually, it's just doing everything without you and maybe just reporting back. And now you're not having to tell it what to do. You're just reviewing stuff over time and you're just managing the system. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to learn how to incorporate AI systems that actually turn into revenue and help you in your day-to-day role to build better systems. Go ahead and join the school community down below. The link is right there where you can learn more. Otherwise, see you in the next one.